there! So, the last video I made was the vinyl tag video, and that was really fun. So, I thought I would just make a video going through my entire collection. Starting with A, going to Z, and I have a little over 250 in my collection right now, so I think it'd be a bunch of episodes getting through all of them, so I think it'd be fun. So, let's get started. The first record in my collection is the Allman Brothers, at Fillmore East. Everybody kind of knows this album. It's their live album. I got back when I first really started collecting records, my grandma and my grandpa said, "Oh, we have all our old records up in our attic, and we don't have a record player anymore, and you can just take as many as you'd like." And this was one of them. There's several in the midst of all these records that are from them. I believe this was my grandpa's, actually. This is an amazing live album from the Allman Brothers. Particularly, where is it? Whipping Post. There's a 22-minute version of Whipping Post on this album. There's a reason why people consider it to be an amazing live album. Because it is actually amazing. It's very, very good. So if you like the Allman Brothers, or if you don't know the Allman Brothers, this is a pretty good place to start with them. Yeah, Allman Brothers. It's nothing special. It's like an original pressing of it, so it's not like colored or anything like that. All right, next, 2 records by the same band. That band is AltJ, starting with their first album. I believe it's An Awesome Wave. This is the Newbury Comics pressing of this record. All the lyrics there. It's on a nice, cool little picture of all the band members like put together on this side of the sleeve. Track listing there. The record itself is really pretty. It's a light blue, it's some marbling in it, a little bit of pink and white in there. Really, really nice. If you don't know AltJ, they're indie rock band, kind of just a little bit on the experimental side, I guess I'd say. Just some strange choices and songwriting choices and stuff like that in their music that make them just a little bit avant-garde, I'd say. Some good songs on here: Fitz Pleasure, Blood Flood. Breeze Blocks is one I was trying to think of. Really good songs on this album. And I also have their second album. This is... Oh shoot, what is this one called again? I don't remember what it's fucking called. It is called... This Is All Yours. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. This is on a double LP. Each one a different color. Actually, that's the same weird picture. I never put that together. Yeah. Track listing. This one's on blue. I believe the other one is green? So, very similar to their first album. A bit more angular and, subtle. And a bit more... they experiment a bit more on this album, and I actually enjoy it. Oh, it's a... yellow. Nice. They have some really, really interesting songs on here. I love Pusher, one of their slower songs. Hunger of the Pine. Warm Foothills is amazing. Definitely listen to that track. They do this thing on that track where there's 3 people singing, but instead of just singing parts, they each sing, syllables, almost. They don't sing full words. They sing, a couple of syllables and then switch off, and it's really impressive that it went over that well, because that could have turned into a complete mess. Yeah, so, that's AltJ. Great band. Alright, next one we got. It's a newer one. This is the new Alvvays record. Or, you just pronounce it Always, actually. These guys are funny. I actually really disliked their first album. It was just messy, nonsensical, lo-fi, dream pop, indie rock. It just was. It was a bit of a mess and didn't seem very tight or organized. This, however, is the exact opposite of that record. Every single song on here is extremely well written, super catchy, still a bit lo-fi dream pop indie rock-esque, but there's such amazing songs on this album. Dreams Tonight is beautiful. Plimsoll Punks, Your Type, Lollipop. If you just want some like really fun shit, definitely listen. Fun dream pop indie rock. Just listen to this album. If I saw you on the street, would I have you in my dreams tonight? I love that song. And it's on a nice yellow. Sick. This came out last year, I believe, and one of the best records that came out last year. Completely did not expect this to be that good, considering how much I disliked their first album. So, Alvvays, I don't know. Alright, next one. Ooh, this is a cool one. This is Tori Amos with... Get that out of there. Tori Amos with Boys for Pele. Now, this is not just some sort of reissue. This is the original pressing of this record on a nice, like, Coke bottle, kind of clear record. Double LP. For those who know this record, it's a very long record. For those who don't know Tori Amos, first off, what are you doing? And second off, she's one of the best songwriters to come, just to exist, ever, in my opinion. She's just a fucking incredible with words and how she crafts songs and her performances and all that. She's amazing. And there's so much material on this album. Over an hour, definitely. Horses, Father Lucifer, Professional Widow, Caught a Light Sneeze, Hey Jupiter. Oh, I love Hey Jupiter. What's the other one that I really like? Where it is? Marianne is another really beautiful one. In the Springtime of His Voodoo, I love that song as well. Some amazing, well-written songs on this. Great stories. Just such an incredible album. Powerful album. And it's cool, it's awesome that I managed to get, like, the original pressing of this. Alright. I believe now, actually getting into one of my all-time favorite bands. And that is Animal Collective. This is their EP, Fall Be Kind. Came out pretty soon after Merriweather post Pavilion. For those who do not know Animal Collective, excuse me, they have done a lot. They started back in, I want to say their first album was in 2000, but they probably formed a bit before that. They started off in a very psychedelic noise area, moved into psychedelic folk music, and kind of moved into psychedelic pop music after that. And they've kind of been in that area for a while. But Animal Collective is such an incredible group. And there's nothing by them I had ever listened to is bad, in my opinion. There's no bad records in their discography, despite them having almost 10, I believe, at this point. And that's not counting all their EPs and things like that. But just the vastness and the consistency of their work is really something that I admire and I think is really amazing. And just watching them progress as a band has been amazing. But this is their EP that came out after Merriweather Post Pavilion. It sounds a lot like Merriweather Post Pavilion, still very poppy, still very catchy, still very psychedelic and like just like very liquid and improvisational, I guess you could say. Standard black record. Amazing songs on here. On a Highway. The one everybody really knows, What Would I Want, Sky. What would I want, Sky? What would I want, Sky? This is a great EP. I wouldn't say it's a good place to start with them, just because there's some songs that don't really stick as well as others on here, but there's also some amazing songs as on top of that. Next from Animal Collective, I have, I think, about 9 or 10 of Animal Collective records in there, so. Next one is Feels. This was kind of when they were first starting to get into the psychedelic pop area. You can really hear them first starting to break into that on this album. I started listening to this a bit later on when I was into Animal Collective. I started on Merriweather, Pavilion, Strawberry Jam, and those albums, and as well as other people kind of moved into the earlier stuff, like the folk stuff, Campfire Songs, Sung Tongs, like that. I missed this album. I was late to it, and it's one of their best, in my opinion. It's fantastic. Really amazing songs in here. I think it's just on black, so I'm not going to bother taking that out. But amazing songs on here. The Purple Bottle, Turn Into Something. What's the Grass is amazing. They're so catchy and so strange, but there's also some really gorgeous, more, I guess I would call them ambient tracks, almost. Did You See the Words? Bees, Banshee Beat. I love Banshee Beat. I think Loch Raven is a very beautiful, very quiet song, which ends up going into Turn Into Something, which is a much louder, bustling, catchier song, and it's really nice. This is a fantastic album, and maybe you could probably start here with them if you wanted to. It's a really good album. After that, something that's very catchy and simple, we go into something that is really abrasive and extremely weird. This is Here Comes the Indian. This is more in their earlier days. I believe this is their third album. This is their more experimental, crazy, noisy stuff that they were releasing along the lines of Spirit Be Kind and Dance Manatee. But this record, out of their experimental area, I think is their best. It's so whacked out and weird. Especially on songs like Hey Light, where they're just fucking screaming at the beginning of the song, just and it just goes back and forth, and then the song immediately gets quieter, and all you have are these rattling drums in the background, and just them going, "Hey Light," just so subtle that you can barely hear it. It's such an oddly made, put together, and produced album, and I think it's just because they would a lot of times not structure their songs. They would just kind of improv in the studio and just come up with whatever was there. And this is a great example of how that works, how that can work out very well. Just such an out there, incredible album that it's so whacked out that you wouldn't think it would exist. It's such a fantastic album. Definitely don't start here. Definitely, once you listen to all their other stuff and then listen to this one, be like, oh, okay, I see where they're coming from now. Because if you start with them, you might not come back. Alright, the next one. This is a big one. This is... what is it called to get live at 9:30? Is that what it's called? What the hell is this thing called? Live at 9:30. Yeah, I was right. Okay. This is a box set. Boom. Of a live album they did at 9:30. And it's extremely long. Came out right after, I won't say right after, but it came out after Centipede Hurts. So there's several of those songs on this album, as well as a bunch of the classics. The track listing's not on there. But, let me open this up. Came with a nice poster that at some point I do want to hang up. Just because it's a cool poster. I don't think I have any Animal Collective stuff on my wall. Yeah, no. So I would like to hang that up. 3 LPs. Get all these things out of here. They're all in black, but the sleeves themselves are really cool. Got orange, blue. Yada-da. Yada-da. And they do, some of the performances on here are amazing. Their performance on, and they do a lot of songs from Centipede Hurts, but they also do a lot of the classics on here. So Did You See the Words, My Girls, Peace Bone, Brother Sport, which is my all-time favorite song by them, The Purple Bottle. Their performance of Purple Bottle on here is amazing. think it's about 11 minutes long, and they go fucking crazy on that. It's so good. And I believe this is actually numbered. Let's see here. Where'd it go? Yes, I have. Let's see if I can get that in the camera. 176 of 2000. So that's neat. Yeah, this is definitely something you get if you're deep in Animal Collective. You love Animal Collective. You know their material. This is something you get. This is not something you just buy randomly to get into the band. This is something that... This is like some fan shit. Because I spent a bit too much money on this. Let's just say that. I don't actually remember how much it was, but it was definitely kind of expensive. But it was still fantastic. All right, after that, we have something that another thing I love that I'm actually able to have. This is Meeting of the Waters. This was their record store release, or record store day release in 2017, so last year. And it's an EP recorded all in the jungles of Brazil. And it's more reminiscent of their earlier stuff, Campfire Songs, Sung Tongs, and that's why I wanted it so much, because I love those records. And I remember I went to the record store. I told the story in my vinyl tag video. I skipped record store day, went there 2 days later, and they had one copy left, and I was super appreciative I was super happy that they had it. And so I will always cherish this. But the songs on here themselves are very good. I don't think I actually took it out in the vinyl tag video. But you got a cool picture of Avi and fucking geologist right there. Some cool photos from the trip on the back of the sleeve. It's just on a black record. And I actually remember watching the I think it was Viceland recorded them going to the jungle in Brazil and made a bit slight. It's like a small documentary about them going, and it's really cool watching how they put these songs together. It was really awesome. All right, next one. Everybody gets this one. Everybody knows this one. If you know Animal Collective, you gotta have this one. Everybody knows it. It's Merriweather Pavilion. Such a great album, but I'll tell you right now, it ain't my favorite. We're getting to that, which might be blasphemous to say, but it ain't my favorite. Cool gatefold. Black records. Song tracks on the other side. If you have not heard this album, it is amazing. It is fucking amazing. So many incredible songs on this album. My Girls, Brother Sport, In the Flowers. But it's just like they took this psychedelic pop sound and just perfected it and just crafted it in a way that makes this so fantastic. So catchy, but still experimental enough that it's interesting. It's such a fantastic record. Also, just the trippy album cover that everybody knows. It's such a good album. So, so good. Alright. And I believe... Oh no, this is not the last one. I have a couple more after this, actually. Alright, next two I'm going to show together. This is Painting With and The Painters. This is the album that came out in 2016. There were some really awesome songs on here. That being said, this is probably my least favorite Animal Collective album. Floridata is on here. On Delay is really good. But outside of that, there's a lot of very meh tracks on here. But I got this when I actually saw them in concert last year, I want to say. Yeah, last year. I actually have the set list up on my wall right here in a frame. But, yeah, this might be my least favorite record of theirs. I wouldn't necessarily call it bad, but there's some dull moments on here. I believe that is Geologist, that's AV, and that's Panda, and I mean, fuck Deacon, right? Even though he's the best member. I love Deacon, and it's a shame that he's not getting enough respect in this goddamn band. More Deacon, please. Alright, and then the EP that came out the year after this did. This is called, what the fuck happened here? What is going on? The Painters. Just 4 tracks. Probably just some stuff, some leftover tracks didn't make it onto the album. A lot of these tracks I have the similar problem with I did on this album, kind of underwritten, bland compared to all the rest of their material in the past. That being said, the first track on here, Kinda Bonkers, is awesome. Their cover of Jimmy Mac is awesome, but Peacemaker and Goalkeeper are just kind of forgettable. So, those are those two. 2 more to go in my Animal Collective collection. I have a lot of these records, I told you. Alright. Oh, I put that... fuck it. It's fine. Alright. Next one. Now, I remember I said Merriweather is not my favorite. Well, this is. This is Strawberry Jam. For me, on Merriweather Post Pavilion, there's a couple moments that get a little bit dull and just lose my interest. Every single second of this record is nothing but pop, psychedelia genius. Every single track from front to back on this album is amazing. Where's the track listing? Peacebone, the first track, it's one of their best ever. It's amazing. Forever and Green, Fireworks, oh my god. Winter Wonderland, Cuckoo Cuckoo, Derek. So many amazing songs. They do not miss a beat. Chores is amazing. It's just so incredible what they do on this album. And I think this is where they perfected their psychedelic pop sound, not Merriweather. That's in my opinion, because this one is a bit dirtier in sound almost, and it makes everything hit a bit harder. While in Merriweather, everything is very clean and slick and just airy, I guess you could say. There's no grit like there is on this one. So yeah, this is Strawberry Jam on black. Nothing special about it, but the music on this record is just it blows my mind every time I listen to it. It's one of those records that I am so into that I'll be listening to it and then the record ends and I'll go, wait a minute, I didn't realize I listened to the entire thing. I love everything so much that it just goes by in so quickly. Such an amazing album. And then last for this episode, we have Tongs. This is their psychedelic folk record. This was their big psychedelic folk record. They had one before this called Campfire Songs, which is not on vinyl, hoping that they one day press that, because I will snatch that shit up in a second. But this is a fantastic psychedelic folk record. I believe it was just AV and Panda Bear on this one. And they just... You can hear some of the pop elements actually breaking through on this album as well, that they would end up coming to incorporate more on later albums. But they're just so out there in the way they craft songs. And you can really see it on these. Some of the songs are shorter, like Who Could Win a Rabbit or Leaf House. And what they just moves through so many segments and so many interesting ideas in just such a quick time. But then backing that, you'll have a song like Visiting Friends, which is like a 12-minute psychedelic folk song that's just cycling and just all these weird sounds keep entering and leaving and entering and leaving, and it's just so out there that it's one of those records that it's hard to believe got made. You're like, how the hell were they making this? It's beautiful at points, catchy, funny. I mean, just listen to College. That's one of the funniest songs ever written. It's like 54 seconds. I'm not gonna spoil it. Just go listen to College. It's hilarious. So much good stuff on this record. Yeah. Sung Tongs, Animal Collective. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for this episode. I will keep going whenever I get the chance to record more of these. And I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.